Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Holocaust of attachment. We'll study the physical level, the emotional level.
Physical level. An ungoverned mind also develops attachment to the physical body and its senses. At the physical level, the mind is drawn by the senses and their fascination for the sense objects. The eyes are enchanted by color and form. The ears crave for sound, nose for smell, tongue for taste, and skin for touch. The mind thus follows in the wake of the senses. And when the intellect is not developed sufficiently to govern the mind contracts various addictions like eating, drinking, drugs, sex, etc. Human beings become helpless victims of one or more of these sensual indulgences. To combat this attack, you would need a powerful intellect to carefully regulate, moderate your sensual contacts. Ironically, such regulation and moderation would let you enjoy the sense objects without developing an attachment for them. Addictions only force you to hang on to them, though you derive no enjoyment therefrom. They drive you to a state of neutralization, a state when sense contact does not provide you with any further pleasure. A strong intellect would understand the absurdity of such indiscriminate indulgence. It would exercise caution, regulate your sensual contacts, and keep them alive. Emotional level. Another problem with the mind's attachment is its emotional bondage with virtually anything it contacts in life. One becomes attached to family, particularly spouses, children, and even pets, little realizing that attachment causes frustration, suffering, thus yielding to a variety of attachments. The entire world is afflicted with distress and depression. In addition to the attachments, the mind houses a host of emotions. It ranges from affection, love, passion, hate, greed, anger, jealousy, etc. Emotions cause suffering and sorrow if they have their own way without intellectual governance and guidance. They would not pose a problem unless one turns emotional. Likewise, passions are all right until one becomes passionate. So too sentiments are good as long as one is not sentimental. Your feelings and emotions therefore require your intellect's constant surveillance for maintaining peace and happiness.
Egoistic level. We'll continue.
Egoistic level. Yet another frightful quality of the human mind is its yearning for name, fame, honor, position, power, and the like. Few realize that respect and honor has to be earned through one's selfless service and sacrifice to others. One should thus command respect and recognition. In his play, summed up the absurdity of this trait in striking words. Reputation is an idle and most false imposition, oft got without merit and lost without deserving. What is fame? It's just a name that lulls people to sleep. It is but an intoxication of the ego. The overbearing ego topples a weak intellect. It has led people to a vulgar exhibition of wealth, forced some to hoard money for that purpose. In India, people borrow heavily, spend indiscriminately to conduct the weddings of their children. As a result, several families are lost in the vain exhibition of wealth well beyond their worth and status.
Attachment versus detachment. In that chapter, attachment versus detachment, we saw the material level in relation to the wealth. The next is the physical level. Physical level is directing or having control of the senses. That's why he says indriyas, the senses. Physical level is not just equated to having a fit physical body. That is not physical level. Physical level means, number one, the sensory organs will not go wherever they want by themselves. You can direct them in the way that you want. That is physical level. Opposite of that is the sensory organs goes in whatever direction they want, and the mind is simply carried away by it. So first thing, physical level means don't equate it to fitness of the body. You can have a very fit body and be very indulgent and have no sense control at all. Then it doesn't mean anything. So what is physical level? Physical level is sense control and managing, or you can call it controlling the sense organs, or you can call it as management of the sense organs, anything you can call. And at the cost of repetition, it is repeated again and again and again, and it is worthwhile to go through this repetition. Vashehi yashendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Who's a man of sthita prajna? A person who's got the senses under control. He didn't say a person who's got the mind under control is a sthita prajna. He says a person who's got the senses under control is sthita prajna, because you are so alert to control it at the first level itself. Why do we insist on sense control? The law. What enters you is determined by the senses. What enters you is determined by the sense organs. Through the sense organs, the world enters you. So you got to be very careful at it's like the security check at the airport. Everything is done. They frisk you completely and then you are allowed to enter. Sense organ, sense control is that. All that the senses perceive, you do not allow it to go into the mind and register. That is physical level. Whatever can disturb your mind disturbs the entry point of the disturbances are the senses. Therefore, the first discipline in Vedanta, they have a lot of value. They give a lot of importance to sense control. Nowadays, nobody bothers about sense control. Everybody wants to do mind control directly. Everybody wants to talk about controlling the mind. Everybody wants to talk about stopping the mind. Everybody wants to observe the mind. All that is fine, but it just doesn't work. Why? Because the sense organs bring in the world inside you, and you will get carried away by what the world, and you will get carried away by what the world brings in. You keep reading share market advice for 1 week. You actually, 7th, 8th day, you will go and ask how to open a demat account. You will go and do that. Why? It keeps entering you so much that you will be drawn by it. So anything that comes in you has the capacity to leave an impression in you. This is the law. All that enters through the 5 sense organs has a capacity to leave an impression. It leaves an impression behind. And that impression behind is what the mind picks up later as thoughts, and it keeps musing on it, and then it develops into a desire. So for the mind to muse, it needs an impression. And impression comes from where? The impression always comes from the senses. Therefore, at the physical level, he says, take care of your senses. More and more and more the world enters you, the impressions that is left behind will be more. 1, 2. And you won't even know that they are leaving behind impressions. You won't even know that certain impressions are left behind. And when will you know it? When will you know it? You will know it only when the desire has turned into an obsession. Till that point, you will not be aware of it. Because the intellect is so weak that it is not able to catch it at the impression level itself. So here, what are we talking about? He's saying a powerful intellect would be able to keep the sense contact alive. A powerful intellect would be able to keep the sense organs, the sense contact alive. but it will not leave an impression behind. It means all sense perceptions, not to leave an impression behind, it has to be filtered. And people don't believe in this filtration process. They believe that mind control is, if the mind is controlled, everything is taken care of. No, sir. Correct? Where is the data coming to the mind? What is feeding the mind? What gives data to the mind that it can go on musing, that it can go on reliving? It is the senses. So, first level is what? Ensure that the sense organs are kept well under control. This is called Indriya Nigraha. Technically, it is called Indriya Nigraha. Here, he calls it as a control at the physical level. Incidentally, you will enjoy it. You are not regulating for enjoyment. Remember that. Incidentally, a person who's living a life like that will be enjoying. You don't practice regulation for enjoyment. You practice regulation for what? So that it doesn't leave any impressions behind. At least after studying so much of Vedanta, we should be scared about the word impression. If this word impression is not scaring you, don't worry. You can still keep studying again and again and again. It should scare you. It should worry you. Because it is the impressions that is the starting point. Ironically, what happens? Nobody is practicing this sense control. Nobody is practicing this discipline of the body. Discipline of the body means the senses. What the senses can enjoy vis-a-vis what the object can give vis-a-vis what the mind is hoping. What the object can offer, what is the level of what is the capacity of the senses to enjoy vis-a-vis what is the mind hoping. What is the mind hoping? Mind is hoping something beyond the capacity of the senses and the object. Because of the hope, what it does, it relives the impression so much. Because of reliving the impression so much, the hope is developed. What is the hope? More the contact, more the joy. It develops into its own misunderstanding. What is the misunderstanding? More I contact, more the joy. More I have, more the joy. Because not having it is no joy. If I'm having it less joy. Obviously, more I have, more joy. And if I have maximum joy, and if I have everything, always joyful, happy. It doesn't work like that, he says. It doesn't work like that. Why? Because of the inherent limitation of the object and inherent limitation of the senses. So what is physical level means? Recognizing the intellect, recognize the inherent limitation of the senses and the inherent limitations of the objects, and the contact between the objects and the senses are regulated. When this is regulated, this is called as discipline. At the physical level, the mind is drawn by the senses and their fascination for the sense objects. when the intellect is not sufficient developed, when the intellect is not developed sufficiently, what happens? The vega goes on increasing. The vega, the momentum of the desire goes on increasing. When the momentum of the desire increases, that is called as obsession. And that obsession will again lead to indiscriminate contact. Indiscriminate contact leads to neutralization, boredom, a vicious cycle. Because of what? Because of the attachment to the sensory pleasures. Attachment to indiscriminate indulgence. Opposite of indiscriminate indulgence is regulated contact. Okay. What is indulgence vis-a-vis regulated contact? Indulgence is whenever the urge comes, whenever the demand comes, you keep contacting. That is indulgence. Regulation means you predetermine the contact. You predetermine the when, you predetermine the how. Then you are having sense control. It is predetermined. The when means the time is predetermined, the quantum is predetermined. Since the time, the quantum, everything is predetermined, it doesn't turn into an indulgence. Okay? Why should a person do all that? When the indulgences isn't happening, there is the vitality. An indulgent person will not have any vitality. A disciplined person will have this vitality. That vitality is what is called as an inner calmness. And that inner calmness is necessary to gain knowledge, to do spiritual practices. That is what. This is the sequence. A non-indulgent person, the mind is relatively calm. That relative calmness is required to get into spiritual practices. What is the spiritual practices? To be aware of the mind, to be aware of the emotions, etc. To be aware of what the mind is, to be aware of what the emotions is, and to be aware of how we are getting carried away by these. So, first thing, material level we spoke. And now we discussed the physical level. Trividam narakasyedam, he says. In the 14th chapter, in the 16th chapter, he says, 3 gates to hell. He says 3 gates to hell. And the first gate is lack of sense control. Lack of sense control. The word control implies regulated contact. The word control means a regulated contact is meant by the word control. So there is the word denial, there is the word suppression, and there is the word control. All are not synonymous. Again, I repeat. There is the word denial, there is the word control. Nowadays, they don't use the word control a lot. They use the word managing a lot. So you don't use the word sense control. You can use the word sense management. Because everything is about management nowadays, no? So for here also you use it. Management, sense control. What does it mean? A regulated contact. If the regulated contact isn't happening, what happens? Mind will be steady. Sense control brings a steadiness to the mind. How does it bring steadiness to the mind? At the entry level itself, so many things are frisked. And what all is not regulated is straight away rejected. At the security gate itself, so many things are rejected. So that what comes in is so filtered, so beneficial. You don't indiscriminately allow the world to enter you, develop lot of thought process, and then try to control it. That is one method. One method is you indiscriminately allow everything to enter you, and then what do? You try to manage it later on. What is Indriya control? What is physical level means? At the entry level itself, you stop. Sthita prajna. Sthita prajna tadochyate. Sthita prajna tadochyate. And what is the example of the sensory control? Tortoise. Bhagavad Gita. What is the example of the sensory control? Like the tortoise. It sees something, the mind says, it sees something. As soon as it registered in the mind will say what? Mind will say, wow, nalla irukudhe. Immediately what will happen? Like the tortoise withdraws, the person withdraws. Again I repeat, you see something, the mind registers it. As soon as it is registered, what the mind says? Mind says, wow, nalla irukudhu. If you are not controlling it at that point itself, it develops into a Vega. Finally, what will the Vega tell you? I cannot live without it. And where did it start? Wow, it's nice. It started like that. And where did it end? I cannot live without it. A sthita prajna, also senses are functioning, data enters, but one thing that person does. What? One thing that person does. Intellect filters. When the intellect filters, what are the factors it takes into consideration? What are the filters? What are the filters? We say intellect is filtering. What are the filters? What is the filter? Is this in any way going to take me to the goal? That is the filter. Says, wow, correct. Nothing wrong with it. Immediately you will say, immediately the mind will, after registering it as, wow, immediately what will be the next step of the mind? It should be, I want it, it should be with me. Okay, it doesn't come to you and goes to somebody else. What will happen? It doesn't come to you, but it goes to somebody else. What will happen? That's where all the Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Bhaya, Dvesha, all that happens after that only. So what is the filtering process here? It's good. Where it is good, no doubt about it. We are not blinding ourselves to say there is nothing in it. Carefully follow. We are not blinding ourselves to say there is nothing in it. Is it in any way taking me to the goal? It presupposes that you have a goal, isn't it? Is it in any way taking me to the goal? It presupposes that you have a goal. And what is the goal? Obviously, in this class, we are talking about the goal of self-development, self-realization. Chitta Shuddhi, moksha. That's what we are. That's what the goal. So, anything that enters into you, that awareness. What is that awareness? The filter. What is the filtration? Is it going to help me to the... If it is not going to help you, what do? If it is not going to help you, what will you do? You say, I am not interested. But then you will not say, I am not interested. You will want to blame it and call it as useless. What is detachment here? Are you able to understand the difference, Aparna? You are not calling it as useless. You are only saying, I am not interested. This I am not interested in, that is called detachment. You don't call it useless. Or more you call it useless, more you will be craving for it only. Therefore, Vedanta comes in from a different angle and say, don't call it as useless and all. Say that I am not. Say that I am not interested. Why do I say I am not interested? Because it is not going to take me to my... Because it is not going to take me to my goal in any way, I am not interested in it. This is the filter. This is sense control. This is discipline at the physical level. This is detachment at the physical level. So what is detachment at the physical level? Detachment is to say, I am not interested. But it is nice, no. It is good, no. Why can't you have it? The girl goes to the party and sees three of the friends having one handbag. The child comes back fully convinced. What? I should also have one. I should also have one. Instead of saying they had that handbag, it's very nice, it's very good. I don't need it. Have you ever noticed, you tell anybody this is good, immediately they will ask you what? They'll say, isn't it? Have you ever noticed it? You also do it, no? If somebody comes and appreciates something, immediately what will you think? Immediately, what do you do? You will say, if it is very valuable to you, you will hide it next time, isn't it? If it is very valuable to you, you will hide it next time because drishti, isn't it? Kannu vekranga, sir. Evil eyes there, evil eyes, because they are coming and asking. They are only appreciating. We do not know what it is to say, I appreciate it, but I am not interested in it. That is detachment. At the physical level, in relation to the sense objects, you appreciate it, but you can while you are appreciating, you can also say, I am not interested in it. This is called detachment. What is attachment? As soon as you see it, you want it. What all the eyes see, the mind wants to grab, isn't it? If you have to bring down a person, cater to the senses, the person will fall very fast. This is the psychology of anything. If you want to make a person fall, cater to the senses. Make it so appealing to the senses, the person will instantly fall, immediately fall, because senses has this ability. Senses has this capacity. What is the nature of the senses? The nature of the senses is immediate recognition. Then only senses can function. You cannot perceive something today and recognize it 6 months later. So the job of the senses is to give you an instant recognition. Intellect says keep to that job. Wanting, not wanting and all will be decided by something else. This is control. If the intellect says it is very much important for the goal, you will take it. If the intellect says it is not important for the goal, you will say no. So that capacity to say no, I am not interested, though I know what it is called control at the physical level, detachment at the physical level. More you see it, your mind gets carried away by it, isn't it? I don't know, nowadays we stopped going. Previously, we used to go. All the hairdressers shop will have star dust, isn't it? Have you ever seen? They'll have all these magazines. Nowhere there will be a Bhagavad Gita book, isn't it? Nowhere there will be. You see, all these magazines will be there because that's what keeps you so. Why they keep that book? You'll be so engrossed in it, and you can even wait for 1 hour staring at it. Because the chair is so busy, he has to keep you engaged for 1 hour. No. How to keep you engaged for 1 hour? Vedanta class what will happen? So what will they do? They'll keep 20 years back Stardust also, the person will still be interested in looking at it, isn't it? Why? Because it caters to the senses. You read that continuously, what will happen? What you see, what opinion you gather about the world is determined by the senses. You see all the Korean serial. Nowadays, people have so many people I'm seeing. They're saying now Korean serial we are watching, sir. Hindi is gone, Tamil is gone, I don't know, Telugu is gone, now Korean. No, it doesn't matter what you see. All comes up with the same story, no. So you keep watching that, what opinion you gather about the world. What opinion you will develop about the world. That's why it's very important. What enters you is very important because based on that only you are going to develop an opinion, isn't it? I've seen people having very rigid, strong, fanatic opinions based on no facts, no history, no nothing. Simply they keep hearing, simply they keep repeating, simply they keep bombarding. Yeah, that is advertisement, no? Bombard them with the same thing again and again and again. Over a period of time, you start actually thinking that it is Indriya Nigraha. At the physical level, you have to be very like a kurma. Like a kurma. Sensory addiction, you take care first. Then comes the mental addiction. Then comes the mental addiction. Emotional level we are going to see. So first he is talking about the sensory addiction. Like the kurma, you withdraw. Just to try it no once. When drug is offered, it is easy to say no first time, isn't it? But then they will say, what? Why are you so scared? Why can't you just explore? Why are you don't know what you are? You don't know what you are missing. You don't know all that. So what happens? You start contacting. The third time, the first time you say no, you are acting on your strength. The second no is weakness. Third no is more weak. Fourth no, you won't even remember to say no, isn't it? You won't even remember to say no. And only time you will realize is when you gotten into an addiction. Because it very soon it will quickly come to this point. Are you able to follow? Very soon it will come to this. Very soon it will come to this point. Addiction. Wali is the example of senses. As long as Wali is not there in front, you are very strong. The moment Wali comes in front, Wali has a very unique boon, no? What is a unique boon of the no? No one in this planet has got a boon like that, except that one person till date, isn't it? Don't worry, we all have that a lot. What is that? You stand in front, straight away, 50% of your energy is gone. Straight away, you are lost. Isn't it? As long as you don't encounter it. The moment you go in front of Wali, what happens? Every addictive thing is like that. As long as it is not in front, you believe you are strong. The moment it comes in front, you have lost it. That's why everybody believes they are strong. And especially in the classroom, you will believe that you are almost close to Sthita Prajna, isn't it? Yeah, almost very close, that's it. By tomorrow morning class, we would have reached the state of Sthita Prajna. You develop a sensory addiction and then it turns into a mental addiction. And even if you forcefully chain a person and keep the person away from the object, the mind craves so much, isn't it? Mind craves so much. Are you okay till now? Obsession this craving makes you other-mic. This is why we are worried. You develop obsession and then the senses get neutralized, and then if it stops there is no problem. But where is the problem? Obsession makes you do things that you should not do. Correct? A child has developed a drug addiction. The parent stops giving money. Money is drained out. There is no more possibility of money. What the child will start doing? What the child will start doing? It will start stealing. It will call all the father's friend and it will say, what? Medical emergency. I am stuck somewhere. Give me. Oh, obsession is problematic. Why? Because in order to fulfill that addiction, in order to cater to that addiction, you will do anything and everything. At that point of time, going and telling that person practice control doesn't make any sense. Or the person will not be able to control. Therefore, what is the other way? The other way is without security check, don't allow anything inside. Keep a metal detector. Keep a metal detector so that without frisking, nothing is allowed. This is sense control. Okay. This is physical level. If the physical level is not done properly, now carefully follow. If the physical level is not done properly, what happens? It develops into a craving, the wrong things and all that. From sensory addiction, it turns into a mental addiction. Emotional level. All are interconnected. If you can stop it at this level, you can prevent it. If you have not stopped it at that level, it will develop into this. And once it has developed into a mental addiction, it takes very, very long time to overcome that. What in Bhagavad Gita language, we call it as rasa. Rasavarjam Rasopyate, he says. That mental addiction takes very long time to overcome. And how did it become so strong mentally? Because it wasn't frisked in the beginning. If it was frisked and been taken care, what happens? It will not get into mental addiction. Now, what is mental addiction? Vishaya vinivartante viraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya ram drishtva nivartate. This mental addiction, sensory addictions are easy. Chapter 2, Sthita Prajna. These mental addictions are far more dangerous. Okay. How do you understand mental addiction? What are the symptoms of mental addiction? We should know that by now. What are the symptoms of mental addiction? What are the symptoms that you are addicted to something? Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Macharya, Bhaya, Dvesha. All these are clear indicators that you have that you are addicted to something mentally. What is this mental addiction? What is this mental addiction? The mind imagines a joy. The mind imagines a joy. Fancy, reliving. All this is what? All this is what is the problem. All this is what he says. A spiritual person is, what is detachment? A spiritual person is a detached person. A spiritual person is a detached person. Without detachment, there is no spirituality. Today, all spiritual practices have no reference to detachment at all. In fact, it promotes attachment. It promotes indulgences. It promotes fanaticism. It promotes all this. One. Distinct and different from that is a person who's lacking detachment is the one who's attached. And what is attachment? Attachment is dependent on external for happiness is attachment. Not being dependent on the external for happiness is detachment. Again, what is attachment? Attachment is dependent on the external for happiness. Since you are so dependent on the external for happiness, you will have a craving for certain situations and a dvesha for certain situations. Again, since you are dependent on the external situation, you will have a craving for certain situations and you will have a dvesha over some other situations. And what is the nature of the world? The nature of the world is to give you both the situations. Or, in fact, it doesn't give you situations. It doesn't try to give you pleasure or pain. It just exists. They simply exist. Understand it like that. Too much of problems, sir, today. Life doesn't create problems. Life only gives situations. Life doesn't create problems. Life gives situations. Situation that you are not able to handle, you will start calling it as a problem. So what is the definition of a problem? The situation that you do not know how to manage, how to handle. So life doesn't give problems. It gives the situations. What is the situation? Let us say extreme torrential rain is a situation. If you have used your intelligence and built a house which will not get wet inside, even though it is pouring outside, it will not get wet inside. Sitting inside that house, you will enjoy the rain, and you'll say, what a beautiful rain. Now, is that rain causing you pleasure or pain? You know, you have learned how to manage it. You have learned how to handle it. Since you have learned how to handle it, it no more gives you a problem. Supposing you have a thatched roof and it is raining, what will happen? You will not enjoy the rain, isn't it? You will not enjoy the rain. Why? Because rain is a problem now. What is the problem? The whole house is leaking. Now you have to safeguard so many things. You have to safeguard so many things. You have to do this. And the situation called rain becomes a problem now. Are you able to follow? But nevertheless, life keeps giving rain. What is detachment here? When you are not dependent on the external for your mental state. First is at the physical level, second is at the emotional level. At the emotional level, you get into this detachment. First is at the material level, you get detached. Second is at the physical level, you get detached. Now you are supposed to get detached at the emotional level. Material level, we thought, oh, sir, it's not possible. It's okay to be attached because it's very important. Then we discussed the physical level. That also we thought it's very important. We can't get detached and all that. Now the third we are discussing. What is the third? Emotional level. What is attachment at the emotional level and detachment? Again, he defines it there. Mind has all types of emotions. Good, bad, indifferent, all is housed in the mind, the emotions. Anything that it associates over a period of time, mind develops an attachment to it. Anything that you associate for a period of time, the mind will develop an attachment to it. That's why one of the practices of the sannyasis is not to stay in a place for more than 3 days. They should say they should not stay in a place for more, because fourth day you will start. First meal in the restaurant, how it will be awesome, great. Second meal, third meal, fifth meal, we'll say curd rice at home is much better than the 5-course meal there. What has happened? The first meal was also the same only. It is not that the fifth meal became bad. Even the first meal was the same. What is the difference? The first contact, joy, second, third, fourth, it got neutralized. But then the mind has developed an The senses are neutralized. Carefully follow. The senses are neutralized, but the mind has developed an attachment. Anything that it contacts, assuming what is implied here, unregulated contact. Unregulated contact. Unregulated contact means what? There is no filtering process. Filtering process means I'm repeating. Today's class is a repetition. It's a very repetition is not the way, because you have to say it once and the person is supposed to understand. But since it is not going, we have to repeat it again and again and again. What is it? Anything that the mind contacts, it develops an attachment. And what is attachment? Without it, I cannot live. Anything happens to that, happens to me. Without it, I cannot live. Anything happens to that, happens to me. One becomes attached to everything. Family, spouses, children, pets, stones, doll. Anything that you keep for a period of time, you will get. It need not be even a live thing. It can be even a inert thing, like an object also. But the mind can develop an attachment. Once attachment has developed, it very soon modifies. Attachment is the disease. Modifications are the symptoms. So we work backwards. From the symptoms, we understand the disease. One thing is to say, this disease will modify into this. Very difficult to understand. So what do? We reverse it. If you have these symptoms, you will get affected. If you have the symptoms, these symptoms are an indication that you have this disease. What are the symptoms? We have seen that. The next level is egoistic level. Material, physical, emotional, egoistic. What is egoistic? What is attachment at the level of the ego? The example that he is giving is name, fame, honor, position, power, and the like, meaning all the similar things. Everybody falls for praises, no? Is there anybody who will not fall? Everybody falls for praising, isn't it? What is it called? Everybody falls for that praise. You keep praising, you keep praising, you keep praising. Even though they pretend as though they don't, like all this, when I say every means 99% of human beings has this weakness. This is attachment at the egoistic level. What is this weakness? Praise. Praise implies you have an exaggerated notion about yourself. And anybody approves of it, that is attachment at the egoistic level. Again, I repeat. What is attachment at the egoistic level? Everyone has an exaggerated notion about themselves. Supposing you write a poem, 10 sentences you write. And then there is the complete works of Shakespeare. The complete works of Shakespeare, Kalidasa, and the like on one side, and then your 10 sentences on the other side. What will look more? What will look more good in your eyes? I wrote it, sir. I wrote it. I wrote it. This is attachment at the egoistic. This is attachment at the egoistic level. I wrote it. அதில் 4 spelling mistake, there is no grammar in it, there is no nothing in it, all the wrong words, what you want to say, and everything, there is nothing right. But then still it looks so great to you. Why? Because it is from you, isn't it? From you. If there are small kids at home, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, where they will want to draw? Where they will want to draw? On the walls, isn't it? And especially if the wall is neat and painted well, they will want to draw there only, isn't it? And 2-year-old kid, 3-year-old kid is not Picasso drawing, no. The child will say elephant, but it will look like a giraffe, isn't it? The child will say it is an elephant, and you also have to imagine an elephant where actually it is looking like a giraffe, isn't it? You draw something vis-a-vis what looks more appealing to you? Yes. Why? That is attachment at the egoistic level. The worst form of attachment at the egoistic level is the parental ego. The parental ego is very dangerous, deadly. What is the parental ego? What is the parental ego? Just using this as an example. What is the parental ego? No parent is satisfied with the love of the children. If the love of the children can alone satisfy, all parents will be satisfied already. But no parent is satisfied. Why? Because it is not the love. What does the ego want? What does the ego want? The ego wants respect. The ego wants to command. The ego wants to be respected. The ego wants to command. And when the command isn't working, or when the respect isn't there, what will happen? It gets hurt. And it is extremely hurt. Invariably, what is hurt? What is attachment at the level of the ego? I deserve all the respect while nobody is respecting. Even in my house also nobody respects her. Why? I deserve so much of, while I deserve so much of respect, nobody respects. Ego is not satisfied with love. Understand that. Ego will not be satisfied with love. Ego wants to command. Ego wants to be respected. And when it is not there, it gets extremely affected. Are you okay till now? Because of this weakness of depending on the respect from others, it will start showing off. What it doesn't have, it will pretend as though it has, because it wants respect. Since it doesn't have respect, it will find out what all if I do, people will respect. It will start looking into that. What all if you do, people will respect. Allah car, you should have a good branded car, sir. Then only people will respect. Peer pressure, they say, no. Good dress, I should. Only people, sir, personally, I don't need it, sir. But for the sake of the others, I am doing it. To an extent where they will borrow and show off as though it is theirs. To an extent where they will, in fact, today, all showing off is borrowed, no? All showing off is borrowed. If the person says, I have a car, that car is borrowed. The person is showing off a house, that house is borrowed. Okay, what is the other word of borrowing? Loan. Yeah. Like he says, no. Even the pant and shirt that you wear doesn't belong to. Even the pant and shirt that you wear doesn't belong to you. This is weakness of ego, where you have to show off. The example that is giving is the weddings. Why wedding has to be done so extravagant? See, everybody says wedding should not be done extravagant, and everybody will conduct wedding extravagant only. I have not seen a single people say that. Weddings and all should not be extravagant, sir. And all the weddings they do will be extravagant only. And what is the justification? I understood it, sir, but family, you know what to do. See, I don't want to be a terrorist, but family is wanting me to be a terrorist. Therefore, I turned into a terrorist. It's the ego. Are you able to follow? I don't want to do it, sir, but Kolatur, Purida. I don't want to do it, sir, but wife solranga, what do I do? Children wants it, no, what do I do? Family wants it. I am fully with Vedanta, but as you say in the class, nobody understands Vedanta. It's not nobody, and you don't understand. That's it. It stops there, and it ended. Why? Because everybody has a weakness for this ego. Everybody has a weakness for this ego. Weakness. What is the definition of weakness? Weakness means except you, others will know it. That is weakness. This is the definition of weakness. Weakness means the moment you know it, it's no more a weakness. What is the definition of weakness? Except you, everybody else can see that. Only you will not be able to see it. Okay. And even if somebody comes and tells you that, you will not be able to see it. Even if somebody points out to you, you will not be able to accept it. This is weakness. So at the physical level, what is the weakness? I don't need sense control and all, sir. Control and all I have already. I'm not only one problem I have is meditation. I'm not able to do this. Other than that, sense control and all that I have. So a person believes that material detachment they have. A person believes that they don't have a weakness for senses. Emotional problem, yeah, here and there a little bit, but that is also okay. Egoistic level of problem, I don't seem to have only this egoistic level of problem. Why? Because I don't do anything for myself. I do everything for others. This is egoistic level. The overbearing ego topples the intellect. Overbearing ego topples. As a result, what happens? As a result of this ego, what happens? Okay, attachment to ego, I'll give you a simple example. Somebody says, you are not Elon Musk. Will you get affected? Okay. You don't look that beautiful. Intensity of affectation. You don't look, what is the intensity of affectation? Third, you are a fool. What is the intensity of affectation? Even the mad person will not like to be called as a fool. That is the egoistic level of attachment. Are you able to understand how deep it is? At the lower levels, you can easily dismiss it, or you can easily be at the egoistic level. You cannot. It is so deep. This attachment is. The next one is the last religious level, which we will take up next class. So for today, we have discussed only this. What is it? The material, the physical, the emotional, the egoistic level. What is egoistic level? A craving and demanding respect. That's why even the child says, you should respect me. Ego it is. Respect. Respect. And what is the law? You live a particular way of life. That lifestyle will command respect. Again, you live life a particular way. That lifestyle commands respect. False praises. Reputation is nothing but a false praise. And everybody will fall for this Sahasranama, isn't it? One of the cheapest thing is this, but then it works 100% also, isn't it? What? Pamper the ego. What is pampering the ego means? Say that you are great. Without you, what will happen? Only you. Without you, isn't it? Even to get the work done, you have to use this only, no? From next Saturday, we are starting the Yajna lecture series. I'm sure all of you are aware of it. We're starting the lecture series. After the corona and all is over, we want to go back to that thing. So we are starting the lecture series. There is a very good opportunity for 5 days to do Karma Yoga. Whoever wants to do, give your name to Venkat. Isn't it? Not a name will come. There is a wonderful opportunity to do Karma Yoga for 5 days. Contact Venkat. So first ask if he is available. First you have to ask, are you available and our first. And then you have to say, I am. There is a friend. No. And then supposing if I call Vijay, உன்னால தான்ப்பா அது முடியும் இல்லைன்னா ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்படும். And he will be there at 4:30. He will be in the hall. You follow the difference? Vijay, correct? You understand the difference? This is ego. It says that exclusivity is ego. What is ego? That exclusivity. That exclusivity has to be paid attention to. There are 10 people to do volunteering. Venkat, there is no 10 people. Huh? Yeah, we are still struggling, isn't it? Only you and me are there, and we have to hire 10 fellows, I think, now, isn't it? Yeah, there are 10 people already. You have a wonderful opportunity. Why don't you also come and join? Nobody will come. The opposite of it is what? You have to call everybody. And then also they will say, I will do this, I will not do that. And you have to cater to that also, isn't it? Coffee, tea also you have to buy, isn't it? Fan. God, what a drama Venkat will do. 30 minutes. Fan venu sir ellarkum. Said for what? For 30 minutes to stand there before the after. And you are not standing in Dubai sun, no. If you are standing in Dubai sun, that in summer it is understandable. You have to put a fan, you have to put this, you have to put that, and then still keep looking whether people are. The moment you pamper the ego, even here it works. You follow what I'm saying? This is attachment to the ego. Venkat, I did your job, no? Because he told me before the class, announce pannidungo, Yajna is coming, we need. How do I announce it now? I can only say I am coming to put the table. How can I say come and put the table along with me? Attachment to the egoistic level is exclusivity. What is exclusivity? If I am paid a specific special attention, that pampers my ego so much. Another example. The person will donate one tube light to the temple and write the entire family history on the tube light, isn't it? This tube light is. Have you ever seen that in temples? In the tube light putty, they would have written donated by 250 rupee tube light. Painting charges is 350 rupees, isn't it? This is egoistic level. That's what he said. It gets that deep. It gets that deep. Sir, it's not for me, sir. It's for win-win situation. No, they are also getting what they want, and I am also getting what I want to know. This is egoistic level. Then comes the religious level of attachment. Then comes the religious level, which will continue next week. Next Saturday and Sunday, we will not be having the classes because we are having the evening. Because from next Saturday, Landana Venkat. From Saturday, we are starting the 5-day lectures on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, Music Academy. So we will not be having the Saturday class and the Sunday class next week. We will meet in Zoom the following week. But for today, we finished what? Physical, emotional, and egoistic. With this, we conclude for today. And also, incidentally, we need some help in volunteering. Please contact Venkat. If Venkat has not already contacted you, please contact Venkat and find out what you can help us with. With this, we conclude for today and we continue next week. There are some clarifications I can see. I'll take it up tomorrow. And then we'll go on to the Bhagavad Gita. I know that. We'll still take it up tomorrow.